Good morning everyone. I am Mahi from class 12 science. Today we are going to read the chapter Biotechnology Principles and Processes. Biotechnology. Principles and Processes. Biotechnology deals with techniques of using live organisms or enzymes from organisms to produce products and processes useful to humans. In this sense, making curd, bread or wine, which are all micro-mediated processes, could also be thought as a form of biotechnology. However, it is used in a restricted sense today to refer to such of those processes which use genetically modified organisms to achieve the same on a larger scale. Further, many other processes, techniques are also included under biotechnology. For example, in vitro fertilization leading to a test tube baby, synthesizing a gene and using it, developing a DNA vaccine or correcting a defective gene are all part of biotechnology. The European Federation of Biotechnology, EFB, has given a definition of biotechnology that encompasses both traditional view and modern molecular biotechnology. The definition given by EFB is as follows. The integration of natural science and organisms, cells a part thereof and molecular analogues for products and services. Principles of biotechnology. Among many, the two core techniques that enable birth of modern biotechnology are genetic engineering, techniques to alter the chemistry of genetic material DNA and RNA, to introduce these into host organisms, and thus change the phenotype of the host organism. Bioprocess engineering. Maintenance of sterile, microbial, contamination-free ambience in chemical engineering processes to enable growth of only the desired microbe eukaryotic cell in large quantities for the manufacture of biotechnological products like antibiotics, vaccine, enzymes, etc. Let us now understand the conceptual development of the principles of genetic engineering You probably appreciate the advantages of sexual reproduction over asexual reproduction. The former provides opportunities for variations and formulation of unique combinations of genetic setup, some of which may be beneficial to the organism as well as the population. Asexual reproduction preserves the genetic information, while sexual reproduction permits variation. Traditional hybridization procedures used in plant and animal breeding very often led to inclusion and multiplication of undesired genes along with the desired genes. The techniques of genetic engineering, which include creation of recombinant DNA, use of gene cloning and gene transfer, overcome this limitation and allows us to isolate and introduce only one or a set of desirable genes without introducing undesirable genes into the target organism. Do you know the likely fate of a piece of DNA which is somehow transferred into an alien organism? Most likely, this piece of DNA would not be able to multiply itself in the progeny cells of the organism, but it gets integrated into the genome of the recipient. It may multiply and be inherited along with the host DNA. This is because the alien piece of DNA has become part of a chromosome which has the ability to replicate. In a chromosome, there is a specific DNA sequence called the origin of replication, which is responsible for initiating replication. Therefore, for the multiplication of any alien piece of DNA in an organism, it needs to be a part of chromosomes which has a specific sequence known as origin of replication. Thus, an alien DNA is linked with the origin of replication so that this alien piece of DNA can replicate and multiply itself in the host organism. This can also be called as cloning or making multiple identical copies of any template DNA. Let us now focus on the first instance of the construction of an artificial recombinant DNA molecule. The construction of the first recombinant DNA emerged from the possibility of linking a gene encoding antibiotic resistance with a native plasmid autonomously replicating circular extrachromosomal DNA
autonomously replicating circular extra chromosomal DNA.
Stanley Cohen and Herbert Boyer accomplished this in 1972
Accomplished this in 1972
by isolating the antibiotic resistance gene
by isolating the antibiotic resistance gene,
by cutting out a piece of DNA from a plasmid,
by cutting out a piece of DNA from a plasmid,
which was responsible for conferring antibiotic resistance.
which was responsible for conferring antibiotic resistance.
The cutting of DNA at specific locations
The cutting of DNA at specific locations
became possible with the discovery of the so-called
became possible with the discovery of the so-called
molecular scissors restriction enzymes.
molecular scissors restriction enzymes.
The cut piece of DNA was then linked
The cut piece of DNA was then linked
with the plasmid DNA.
with the plasmid DNA.
These plasmid DNA act as vector
These plasmid DNA act as vectors
to transfer the piece of DNA attached to it.
to transfer the piece of DNA attached to it.
You probably know
You probably know
that mosquito acts as an insect vector
that the mosquito acts as an insect vector
to transfer the malarial parasite into human body.
to transfer the malarial parasite into human body.
In the same way,
In the same way,
a plasmid can be used as vector
a plasmid can be used as vector
to deliver an alien piece of DNA into the host organism.
to deliver an alien piece of DNA into the host organism.
The linking of antibiotic resistance gene with the plasmid vector became possible
The linking of antibiotic resistance gene with the plasmid vector became possible
with the enzyme DNA ligase,
with the enzyme DNA ligase,
which acts on cut DNA molecules
which acts on cut DNA molecules
and joins their ends.
and joins their ends.
This makes a new combination
This makes a new combination
of circular autonomously replicating DNA created in vitro
of circular autonomously replicated DNA created in vitro
and is known as recombinant DNA.
and is known as recombinant DNA.
When this DNA is transferred into Escherichia coli,
When this DNA is transferred into Escherichia coli,
a bacterium closely related to Salmonella,
a bacterium closely related to Salmonella,
it could replicate using the new host's DNA polymerase enzyme
it could replicate using the new host DNA polymerase enzyme
and make multiple copies.
and make multiple copies.
The ability to multiply copies of antibiotic resistance gene
The ability to multiply copies of antibiotic resistance gene
in E. coli was called
in E. coli was called
cloning of antibiotic resistance gene in E. coli.
cloning of antibiotic resistance gene in E. coli.
You can hence infer that
You can hence infer that
there are three basic steps
there are three basic steps
in genetically modifying an organism:
in genetically modifying an organism.
identification of DNA with desirable genes,
Identification of DNA with desirable genes.
introduction of the identified DNA into the host,
Introduction of the identified DNA into the host.
maintenance of introduced DNA in the host,
Maintenance of introduced DNA in the host.
and transfer of the DNA to its progeny.
And transfer of the DNA to its progeny.
Tools of recombinant DNA technology.
Tools of recombinant DNA technology.
Now we know from the foregoing discussion
Now we know from the foregoing discussion
that genetic engineering or recombinant DNA technology
that genetic engineering or recombinant DNA technology
can be accomplished only if
can be accomplished only if
we have the key tools,
we have the key tools,
that is restriction enzymes,
that is restriction enzyme,
polymerase enzymes, ligases, vectors,
polymerase enzymes, ligases, vectors,
and the host organism.
and the host organism.
Let us try to understand some of these in detail.
Let us try to understand some of these in detail.
Restriction enzymes.
restriction enzymes.
In the year 1963,
In the year 1963,
the two enzymes responsible for restricting the growth of bacteriophage
the two enzymes responsible for restricting the growth of bacteriophage
in Escherichia coli were isolated.
in Escherichia coli were isolated.
One of these added methyl groups to DNA,
One of these added methyl groups to DNA,
while the other cut DNA.
while the other cut DNA.
The later was called restriction endonuclease.
The latter was called restriction endonuclease.
The first restriction endonuclease hence second,
The first restriction endonuclease hint second,
whose functioning depended on a specific DNA nucleotide sequence,
whose functioning depended on a specific DNA nucleotide sequence,
was isolated and characterized 5 years later.
was isolated and characterized 5 years later.
It was found that hence second always cut DNA molecules at a particular point.
It was found that hint second always cut DNA molecules at a particular point.
By recognizing a specific sequence
By recognizing a specific sequence
of 6 base pairs,
of 6 base pairs,
this specific base sequence
this specific base sequence
is known as the recognition sequence for hence second.
is known as the recognition sequence for hint second.
Besides hence second, today we know more than 900 restriction enzymes.
Besides hint second, today we know more than 900 restriction enzymes
That have been isolated from over 230 strains of bacteria.
that have been isolated from over 230 strains of bacteria,
Each of which recognize different recognition sequences.
each of which recognize different recognition sequences.
The convention for naming these enzymes
The convention of naming these enzymes
is the first letter of the name comes from the genus,
is the first letter of the name comes from genus,
and the second two letters come from the species of the prokaryotic cell,
and the second two letters come from the species of the prokaryotic cell
from which they were isolated.
from which they were isolated.
Example, E. cor1 comes from Escherichia coli RY13.
Example, E. coli comes from Escherichia coli RY13.
In E. cor1, the letter R is derived from the name of
In E. coli, the letter R is derived from the name of
strain.
strain.
Roman numbers following the names indicate
Roman numbers following the names indicate
the order in which the enzymes were isolated
the order in which the enzymes were isolated
from that strain of bacteria.
from that strain of bacteria.
Restriction enzymes belong to a larger class of enzymes called nucleases.
Restriction enzymes belong to a larger class of enzymes called nucleases.
These are of two kinds, exonucleases and endonucleases.
These are of two kinds, exonucleases and endonucleases.
Exonucleases remove nucleotide from the ends of the DNA.
Exonucleases remove nucleotides from the ends of the DNA,
Whereas endonucleases make cuts at specific position within the DNA.
whereas exonucleases cuts at the specific positions within the DNA.
Each restriction endonuclease functions
Each restriction endonuclease functions
by inspecting the length of a DNA sequence.
by inspecting the length of a DNA sequence.
Once it finds its specific recognition sequence,
Once it finds its specific recognition sequence,
it will bind to the DNA
it will bind to the DNA
and cut each of the two strands of the double helix
and cut each of the two strands of the double helix
at specific points in their sugar phosphate backbones.
at the specific points in their sugar phosphate backbones.
This restriction endonuclease recognizes
Each restriction endonuclease recognizes
a specific palindromic nucleotide sequence in the DNA.
a specific palindromic nucleotide sequence in the DNA.
Thank you, everyone.
Welcome.